All right, so we are here today with Mark Klemm, also known as Roster 35 from GORUCK Selection, Class 18. Just a few weeks ago, 3, 4 weeks ago, Mark did what only a few people in history have done, and that is to complete a GORUCK selection. And so, Mark, thank you for being with us here today. Um, so, first question, just to begin with, is it okay if I call you Peaches?
Yeah, I don't care. You can call me whatever you want, man. They're good to go now, though, man.
Um, right. So GORUCK, as you've come to know, is filled with a bunch of weirdos, and so pretty much in the middle of selection, when you kind of started to come head and shoulders above the rest, we started to internet stalk you. And found a little bit about you. Your Facebook page says stuff like you studied at Harvard and you obviously are involved in Muay Thai. Tell us a little bit about who you are besides what we've able to dig up on the internet.
So, it's funny you said Harvard. I didn't even know it said that. I didn't go to Harvard. Um, the I never I don't do computers really, or I'm like that much. I'm not into like the whole internet and Facebook. I was like in the military too, and I went through that whole time without having Facebook or MySpace. I never had it. And I was running a gym in Boston, and it was in Allston, like a neighborhood of Boston, and Harvard was right there, BU, BC, Northeastern, all those schools. So the owner of the gym, I had like a good fight team there that was underneath of me, and we were always competing. So the owner wanted me to have Facebook to start like for like marketing and like where we're at for different things. I was, but I was like, I don't want to do it. So he made me a Facebook page, and he like put in all the edits. He did everything. It wasn't even my name then. It was the gym was called Y Crew, so it was Y Crew Muay Thai was my first one. That was my first Facebook ever, and for that I only had so when he told me to do something, that's when I did it, and he put it. So every like month he would change what school I went to. 'Cause I guess they get like an added to their students, so it's more of like getting the students to come to the gym or whatever.
So
And
no
this
Harvard, no Harvard.
no Harvard, no. So this was probably shit. Yeah, 6, 7, 8 years ago that I finally got it, and so it shows how much I really care about it because I haven't even updated it. But yeah, so yeah, I didn't go to Harvard.
No Harvard. Okay,
But
but Navy
that's
though, right? Navy.
yeah, I was in the Navy. Yep. I got out in '06, and then I'm not a big fan of school, but I didn't really want to start working right away, and they paid for school, and it was like, well, I might as well go. So I got accepted to a school in Boston and moved up there in 2006. I didn't know anybody. I moved up there with me and my dog. I had a 100-pound dog and got like a little place right downtown. And I went to school for 4 years there. So that's how I ended up in Boston. I'm from Baltimore originally, but I yeah, in '06 I moved to Boston.
And married, wife and kids.
Married, yup. She's in there cooking some eggs right now, and I got 2 kids, and I got another dog somewhere around here.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Um, all right, so GORUCK selection is a pretty crazy event. But and so most people when they kind of find out to go about GORUCK, they kind of take a traditional path of like maybe they do a tough light, heavy tough light, kind of work their way into it. From what I understand, this was actually your second GORUCK event.
Yeah. Yep.
All right,
Yeah.
so you jumped into a heavy,
Uh,
and then you were just like, screw it, let's just do selection.
well, at the time, I had never even heard of Go Ruck. I had done some like ruck events before, and I don't like even rucking that much. It's I like running. If I were to do something like as an event, I'm really good at running. I can sprint. I can do long distance. Any kind of running, I'm good at. But I like to do like I used to be like a competitive fighter, and I fought, and since I've been like running my gym, I don't have time to do that. I always stay in great shape, but there's a lot of other stuff that you have to do to compete, like staying in shape and staying in fight shape are different things. So um, I just like to do like two weird things a year, like that I can really like push myself. That it's a fight. It's a fight in a different way where I don't need sparring partners because up here I don't have those sparring partners. So it's a way I can just push myself to do something. So I had did like rock events like 2 years ago. I did the Boston Marathon with I had a 65-pound rock on. Uh, and I did the whole marathon, and I fought a main event that night. That was the last time I fought. So I did the Boston Marathon with a rock, and then I did. I actually to switch it up, so I didn't use a rock. Actually, I used my old sea bag, a Navy sea bag, which is super uncomfortable, just to stand out in the crowd and work through the because they're not meant for rucking. So I had these nice expensive rocks, and I had this 3.5 foot tall sea bag with no pads here, and I finished first in that, so it was cool. But anyway, so I hadn't
How'd the
heard of
fight
Go
go that
Ruck.
night?
What's that?
How'd the fight go that night?
Oh, good. I whooped that ass. Whoop that ass. Um, no, it was good. It was cool. It was a charity event for Carry the Fallen. So it was a cool like little thing they had. But anyway, yeah, with Go Rock, my wife's friend's husband, he's like really big into Go Rock, and he told me about this thing that he was doing, this 24-hour event. It was the heavy. I didn't really know anything about it, so he asked. I was like, oh, I'll fucking do it with you. And he told me how I need to start training. I was like, dude, I'm fine with that stuff. So I did train a little bit. I basically just did a lot of Muay Thai, picked up my training regimen for that. That's what I've always done for training. But I did do some stuff in my backyard. I got a crazy backyard here. It's like on 15 acres of land, New Hampshire land. So you can imagine what that's like. So I found like a dead tree. I did do some carrying and stuff. But yeah, so we did that, and I thought the whole time it was more of like an individual event. I didn't know that Go Ruck was really a team building. I didn't even look it up. I didn't even look up what I was signing up for. I did. I signed up for it, and so when I was training, I had my ruck up. It was like 60, 65 pounds, and that's what I was going to go do the heavy with. And I had saw, or he told me or something that it was like 30 pounds that you're supposed to have. So when I told him, it was like a week before, me going to do the heavy, he goes, you can't bring that. And I was like, why? He goes, well, sometimes they make you switch rucks with people, or other people carry your ruck. He's like, if someone else gets that, like, he's like, this is a team. He's like, this is a team building thing. So I was like, oh, I had no clue, like, even that that's what was happening. So yeah, so we went and we did the heavy. He ended up like not completing it. The guy I was doing it with, so I didn't like. It was like the next morning, and I wasn't talking to anybody. I was sort of just going with the flow, and I went up to the cadre. We had a break, and I was like, "Hey, can I ask a question without you guys like making everybody do push-ups?" And they were like, "Oh." And I was like, "I can't find this guy that I was doing this with, and I don't really know anybody. He was my ride and shit." And they said he had dropped out that evening. Um, After the 12 mile, I forget when it was. He dropped out in the water. We were, and yeah, so yeah, I finished that. And he was at the finish point. We finished at the 9/11 memorial in New York City, and he was there, and he picked me up. And then after that, he was like, "Oh, there's this thing selection. You should do that." And I remember someone like wrote something on Facebook, and I wrote, "Well, where's this selection thing at? That's what I want to do." And all these people commented like how I wasn't ready for that. You should watch what you're talking about. And I was like, who the fuck are these people? And so I like sort of just totally forgot about it. And then I looked it up like later. I was looking for one of my little things that I do like once a year, and I saw it was in Montana, but it was really close to when it was going to be. And I think it was, I don't remember. I think it was like $600 to sign up, and it was like a month away. And I was like, I'm not paying fucking $600 to doing it. I'm broke, I said that before in one of my videos. I ain't got no money. So I was like, I'm not paying $600 for it. So I put it off, and I ended up doing my first ultra marathon in some mountains in Vermont. So I did that instead. It was like $60 or something to sign up for. I did that, and I'll never do one of them again either. That sucked. Uh, but yeah, so I did that, and then I just waited for this year's to roll around. Then I saw it was in Bellbrook, Ohio. I didn't really care where it was going to be. I told my wife I really wanted to do it, so we signed up like really early for this one because it goes up like each month, the money thing. So I think this one was like two 299. I think it was I think that's how much it was. So we got the cheapest one possible. This is cool too. I get the concept of GORUCK being a team building and all that stuff. Doesn't really fit. I never played team sports. I don't like team stuff. I don't like relying on people. Um, I like doing solo shit, and I've never played a team sport my whole life. So, yeah, I love just soloing it out and like doing that. So, yeah, so I signed up for it and went and did it.
And if I remember correctly, that day when you signed up, that's actually when you finished it, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, I got it, and my wife gave it to me for a gift. She had bought it for me, and like it was like in this envelope, and then I opened it up. Yeah, was it? It was on Father's Day. Bought it, and she gave it to me on Father's Day. Barbecuing in my yard, and she gave it to me, so I was fucking pumped. And yeah, I knew so yeah, I knew I would just beat it that day. I knew I wasn't in shape. Did have to do training for it, but my workout ethic is it's insane, and I know.
So tell me about that. So Father's Day. So how many months of training did you have leading up to it?
I think it was what was it? Whatever Father's Day was until then. It was like 4.5 months or 5 months or something like that. I don't know. It's right at the beat. It's right at the beat. What month is it in? I don't even know when Father's Day is.
Me neither.
Is it June? Yeah, so June, July, August, September. Yes, it was like 4.5 months or something like that. Yeah. So I
What
picked
did
it up.
your training entail? Like, what did that look like?
So I've done like tons of things before. Like I've said I did that ultra marathon. I did that Boston Marathon rock thing. Um, I just pick up my Muay Thai workouts. They're super intense. A lot of running involved in that. So there's other things that you do besides just like hitting shit. It's not just hitting, but any Muay Thai gym is pretty much similar. If they sort of have like that fight team going, if they have competitors, there's tons of gyms that just like sell like the cardio kickboxing. Like, that's not one of my gyms, and that's not what I do. So I do it like you do a lot of running to get lean. You gotta be fit for the thing, and tons of push-ups, like just numerous amounts of push-ups daily, bear crawls and crab walks, any kind of like cardiovascular like stuff we're doing. Um, so I really picked up my Muay Thai. So I was doing. I actually just wrote an AAR. I haven't put it out yet. Of like in detail of all my workouts, but so basically my trick,
Real
my
quick,
trick.
where's that going to be so people can find it?
I don't know where I'm going to put it yet. I'm going to, I might make a separate page on. Someone recommended me making a separate page on my website because you have to buy like domain names and all other shit, and someone else does all that for me. I don't really know how to do it, so he said what would probably be the best thing was to keep what I already have and make a separate like page, so that way I don't have to pay for anything else, and it won't have anything to do with Muay Thai. But that would be because I have some things like brewing that I think I'm going to do with the GORUCK idea in my head. Um, so we might just have a separate like page and link that there, and I'll put it like on the tough page or
Yeah,
whatever.
and
Just be
we'll
able
put it out as well.
yeah. So yeah. So I picked up my workouts. My training regimen was 6 days a week, no days off besides Sunday, no matter what the weather was. Um, the only break I took, it was about halfway through. I got bursitis really bad in my right knee, and I was like, "Fuck!" When I get injured, I keep going. And I was like, fuck it. So I just kept working out and going and going. And then it blew up. It was huge. My knee was really, really big. So I ended up, it was like painful. Um, and we knee in Muay Thai. So I was like, I'll just knee the pain away. And that was obviously a bad idea because it was an infection. So I went to the doctors and he was like, this is a really bad infection. So he put me on antibiotics and told me not to run anything, with moving it or anything. So I was on antibiotics for 10 days, but I took 7 of those days off from the day I went in, and then 7 days. I was like, I'm not taking 10 days off. It's not happening. And the antibiotics worked great, cleared me up right away. The infection in my knee, the swelling started going down the next day, so it was fine. So besides that 7 days off, I didn't take any other days off. And I just did. I was doing Muay Thai at least twice a day, sometimes 3 times a day, which I had a ton of things going in my favor going into any kind of endurance event because my job is working out. It's at my like if you have a job in the office you can't, and I teach all the classes at my gym. I'm the head instructor, like so I was there at 6 a.m. this morning, and I'm on a break right now, but I go back in and I'm there to the rest of the day. So I have that thing. And another thing that I had working for me is I live way up in New Hampshire, right next to Vermont. So the terrain that I got to work out in, or that I do work out in, as far as running on every day, whether I was training for selection or not, I'm running up like really diesel hills, like big hills, and there's mountains. I go hiking with my son a lot, and and they're like for real mountains around here. So when I got to Ohio and I saw what that terrain looked like, it was that was just an advantage I had for being where I'm at and what my job is. I just I'm already ahead of the game by a lot. And I did my Muay Thai, which everyone knew about, and that was my main thing. I did on Thursday, Friday, Saturday. My buddy Wayne owns a gym down the street. It's called Wayne's World. He does like cross train, not strength training, and he does boot camps there. So I did, and he works with a lot of athletes. He has an NHL player he works with. So I went there on Thursday, Friday, Saturday. They're 1 hour boot camp classes. They're like 19 stations, and they're 1 minute long. You just go around like a circuit kind of thing. So I did that with a full ruck. Um, um, it's just Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and I would put in extra weight. So when I would start, because I'd have my water would be full and stuff, my ruck was about, thank you, it was like 60 to 65 pounds, and then I was doing all the weighted stuff with squats, everything that he had. It was like really just a weird mix up of like workouts and stuff. So I did that. That was added, and then I did, what else did I fucking do? I
Any
started.
ruck miles? Like just going
So
out
yeah, that
rucking?
was that was. So I hate rucking, like I told you. I like running. So for me to walk, I don't like walking really, and to do that with a weight on your back is just uncomfortable. And I wasn't like a really big fan of the. I have a really nice rucksack that I do my camping with, and I actually use that in the heavy. I've had it for years, and I beat the shit out of it, and it's really comfortable. It's a nice rucksack, and it was cheap too. Like it came with everything. It had drainage holes in it. It has the waist belt, sternum strap. It was bought like that. But when I bought it, I didn't even know about GORUCK. This was years ago. So I went from something very comfortable, and then my buddy let me borrow the GR1. I wasn't gonna buy one. It was like $250. I was like, hell with that. And the comfort level between that and the one that I was using was just light years different. Whether mine's going to last as long as the GR1 will, I don't know, but I've never broke mine, and I did all my training for the heavy with that, and I went through the heavy with it, and I've really beaten the hell out of it. So for rucking, and I didn't want to use my pack because I couldn't use it, so I put that away. I didn't use it once. I didn't use it, and I used the GR1, and I wanted to make sure. My first thing was to make sure I could do 12 miles in the 3.5 hours. My first attempt to this during my training was my fastest time ever, because I never wore a watch when I was training. Uh, it's a funny story. So I ran the full 12 miles. I timed out, mapped it on hills, trails, all that, like intertwining between both of them, and I got 2 hours and 1 minute on it for 12 miles, and with my full ruck, yeah, with water and everything. So when I got done, we actually had a wedding that night to go to down in Boston, and I got back and I ate, and then I started feeling like crazy, and I went and I laid down on my bed, and I was like in this fetal position, curled up, and like what I did was I overexerted myself. I had that ever. I never had did something like that on that amount of speed. And right when we had to, she's like, "Are you gonna be able to go to the wedding?" Like I was like in a bad shape. And then right when I got ready, we were walking out to the car. I just fell over and I started like projectile vomiting all over the yard. She's like, "What the fuck?" I was like, "Dude, I don't know what the fuck's going on." So I could have obviously got better if I would have kept doing that, but I just couldn't do that anymore, like on that speed, 2 hours in a minute. So I ended up doing trial and error. I knew I could do the 3.5 hours if I did that on my first time. Um, so then I like played with it a bunch of like how I was going to make the time by me feeling the best doing it. So running wasn't the option. Walking isn't the option because of my head. Like I just mentally couldn't take the boredom of it. Um, So what my routine that I wrote it in my AR. What I ended up doing was as I did a nice steady pace jog on any flat area. As soon as it became flat, I was jogging. On any downhills, even if it was the smallest downhill, I sprinted as fast as I could down the hill. I just let the momentum work. It wasn't hard. When I was sprinting, I learned also to hold the because there's so much weight in it that it would always slide. Come up, it would undo, and then it would come down really low, and that's when I would get the chafing on my lower back. So I would hold the actual straps of it so it couldn't slide. So I'd sprint down the hill. And then on any hill, unless it was like this a mini thing, but on any hill I walked. And when I walked, I didn't do like a 15-minute mile. I just did my normal walk pace. I'm tall. I got a long stride, so it wasn't slow anyway. But once I knew I was never getting over 2.5 hours on that. So once I did that, I knew I was fine for the PT test. And then I did one ruck a week, and I just made it a really hard one. I'd load it up. Sometimes I did up to 90 pounds in my ruck because I knew I needed to ruck, but I didn't want to ruck. I hated it. So I was like, I'm just going to do it once a week, and I'm going to make it really fucking hard. And so with the rucks, I'd load up between 65 and 90 pounds, and I have a filter because for when I go hiking in the mountains, you can't get water anywhere, so I can filter out water out of the streams or a lake or wherever it is, as long as it's not salt water. So I would bring that, and I'd go hit the mountains. Sometimes I'd do 2 mountains back to back between 15 and 22 miles I would do with the full weight. And I would do that just once a week. And I would just go with my dog. I didn't bring music, and it was brutal. I hated it. But doing that, I knew they weren't going to put us on mountains like I was doing. And I was going like fast. I was doing like great on the times. So I just did that once a week. There's a girl who goes to my gym. She's a professional mountain biker too. Um, so I started riding with her just to mix up once a week. I would go ride with her. We'd hit the mountains, and she'd take me on the expert trails. So I really was like going up and down. So I was like burning my quads, and it was a great way just to mix up my training. So she'd have to wait for me at each point because I'd like lose her in the woods. Is fucking good, she's a professional rider, so I did that, and
So
I
it sounds like you just basically did everything.
yeah, and I bought a 120-pound sandbag, and it had three 40-pound fillers, and then I saw a guy cutting down a telephone pole one day, and I went back later and I threw a piece of it in my truck. It weighed 57 pounds, so all my sandbag on log PT was done in my backyard. So it was sometimes my workouts were like 5, 6 hours straight. And on Sundays, I made my hard day, and they were about 7.5 hour workouts straight through, no break, no food. So I I knew that no one was doing that. I don't know if anybody's ever did that. And I had, like have a I love the challenge, and I love beating the challenge. I love the finished product. I hate training. I hated rucking. I hated doing the log and sandbag. I hated doing the fucking boot camps. They're a nightmare. I hated it. All I like doing is Muay Thai. But I love the finished product. I love getting my hand raised in the ring. I love being the finisher at selection or whatever it is. It's all about the finish for me. Um, so I just knew that I was fine. My workouts were harder than selection, like by far. But what made selection harder was it's 48 hours straight. So I couldn't do my workouts 48 hours straight. They were really hard work. And I knew that, and that's why when I said I finished selection the day I signed off for it, is because I knew what I was about to do to myself, and I knew that that wasn't going to be done to me in those 48 hours. So I was just extremely confident going into it. I don't really quit at too many things. So, but it was great, man. Doing back to back stuff like even our breaks in select or my breaks during in selection, they were like active breaks. They were making me move around in the water. I wasn't like really physically exerting myself, but I wasn't just sitting. The amount of sitting and just nothing to do was very, very minimal. So that was like the hard part of selection was just continuous movements.
So selection starts. Your family came out there with you.
Yeah, we all flew out together.
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
don't know where the picture came from or who found it, but they posted the picture of like you and your son just like chilling out before selection, and you were just
Yeah,
laughing and had this huge smile, and it was like,
yeah, yeah.
man, I don't know who this
That
guy
was
is,
a
but
sick
he's
picture, man.
awesome.
I love that. Yeah, that's like one of my favorite pictures of the whole thing. Yeah. I bring him everywhere. I bring my, I fought, a lot, and I fought out of, out of country in Thailand. And my wife's been in every single one of my fights. She's never missed one. And the last time I fought, my son Kingston, he was like in my corner, like giving me water. Like, if you have your fucking kids there, you ain't quitting. If you quitting, there's an issue. So I wouldn't quit anyway. But that with my son like being there, he's like that's my partner. That's my man. So I knew I wanted them to come. And this was like the first time my daughter, when she went to my ultra marathon, the finish. But at all the finishes, it's my wife and my two kids there, and like that, I don't want to see anybody else. Like I want them to be there. So yeah, we all flew out together. It's
That's
cool.
awesome.
Cool. Yeah.
So selection starts. You got the four. You got the PT test and all that stuff. But
Yep.
then you kind of go into the 4 hour welcome party.
Hmm.
And from the reports kind of that they were posting on the page, apparently you just won everything.
Yeah.
So
I
what
don't
was
know.
what was that
Yeah.
like? Like what's going through your head when you're just like, what, did you
Yeah.
just know you were gonna win everything or what?